Where do we begin? When Dad first got the camera to take these films, he decided to go out to Boring Park to learn it. It was winter, coming on spring. I remember him being so excited, taking these pictures, just getting familiar with the use of the camera. This is my grandmother, Euphemia Squires, at our house on 265 Hamilton Avenue. We used to call her Mother. She was born in 1912 and died in 1984. This is my kindergarten class at Harrington School. Dad got permission from my teacher, Mrs. Martin, to come in and take these pictures. Just a little quick pan around the class. That's me over there with the glasses on, turning away. Didn't want to be seen on the camera. Afterwards, it was about lunch hour, so afterwards he caught me leaving school, and then just a quick street scene across from the house. I remember this helmet so well. I don't know where we got it or whatever happened to it, but I sure loved playing with it. This is interesting. Woke up one Saturday morning and went down on our little breakfast nook on Hamilton Avenue, and I noticed this smoke coming up from down around Water Street. So I called Dad, and off the two of us went. These pictures were taken down right behind the CN railway station, right where the overpass is now. There used to be a big storage shed there, and this is the first type of fire like this I've ever seen. It was pretty big at the time, and for a little kid, quite exciting. This shot of the Narrows was taken on a Sunday morning. I can remember him wanting, there's a couple of people here now, you'll see in a second. He wanted us to go down by them and get the shot from down there, but I was just too nervous. This is the grave of my grandmother on Dad's side. Her name was Sarah. She died in 1956. I know she held me, but I can't remember her. I have no memories of her whatsoever. This is interesting too. This is the fountain in front of the Colonial Building on the Military Road. Lots of times in the evening, Mom and Dad used to take myself and Jeff out for a drive to try and get us tired before we went to sleep. Went for looking for smudge pots. And I remember in the summertime looking for the Planters Peanut Man. He used to give out a man dressed up as a peanut, and he used to give out these bags of Planters peanuts. The smudge pots, they were oil-burning construction lights to warn in the construction era. Just old, sooty things. And then after the drive, we used to come home and hop into bed. I always had to say our prayers, of course, and then get in and read a book. I remember lots of times having to go to sleep early, and my friends outside playing on a summer's night, and I was so upset because I had to be in the bed. This is a summer place we had up in Three Island Pond. Had lots of great times up there. Had the place from 57 till 68. Lots of great times. This is the Saunders family. They were our next door neighbors. That's our grandfather Ben. He was born in 1908 and he died in 1979. This is a trip that he and Mother took with their friends Steve and Gertie Pierce. They're heading to Scarborough to visit Mother's sister Etta. That's Aunt Etta there and her husband Uncle Ernest. That's Steve. This was just some shots in their backyard. Niagara Falls. I was there in 61 and again in 2007 and 2008. Not much has changed. This is our cousin Janet. She was living in Babylon, New York at the time. I don't know who the guy is. They're having a game of ping pong with our other cousin, Nancy, Janet's sister. That's Aunt Edna, Janet's mother, in the garden that they had in Babylon. Uncle Ches, Janet's father, was Mother's brother. That's Aunt Edna. Wait for the camera. I know Uncle Ches took great pride in this garden. I don't know who the others are in this picture. This is Gladys and Jerry Osborne. Gladys and her husband Jack managed the Gramps' warehouse in Bjorn. He had a business up there. I remember that old red truck. I enjoyed getting in it, shifting the gears and pretending to drive. Here's Jack with Jerry. Ah, Christmas of 1957. What a lot of toys. Car for Jeff, Rexall trucks, a wagon, sled, and so much more. This film was taken just after we'd got up and were amazed with all the stuff that Santa brought. Jeff's first attempt at driving, and me with the trucks. Watch out, Jeff, don't knock over the tree. Kids today wouldn't have such a metal car, be considered too dangerous. That's some metal soldiers I'm playing with. The infamous Christmas morning handshake. Steve would always drop by to spend some time with Gramps, and they always shared a good handshake. This is our cousin Sandra on the left. She's about 15 there. The other lady, that's our great-grandmother Margaret. We call her Nan. She was born in the 1870s and died in 1968. Sandra lived with us for several years in the late 50s and early 60s. Finally, Dad gets in the picture. His name is Wiley. And here's Mom Phyllis, another photo op playing with the toys. Dad was born in 1927 and died in 1990. I was born in 52 and Jeff in 55. Boring Park. These pictures were probably taken Christmas Day shortly after lunch. We all went for a family outing and a walk in the park. Not too much snow on the ground. I sure enjoyed that wagon. Here we are just fooling around, having a great time and being with the family. Christmas supper. Friends of my grandparents always drop by. Bill Bowman and Annie Curran. They eventually moved to Toronto to live. I remember them always dropping by Sunday night for supper and then spending time watching TV and especially the Ed Sullivan Show. Later that night, Steve and Gertie dropped by for a party. Jeff and I were fast asleep. It looks like they were all having a great time. I remember all the parties that they used to have, and myself and Jeff up in the bed and hearing all the fun times they were having downstairs, wishing we could join them lots of times. Boxing Day 1957. This is our cousin Rod. Dad's brother Lester is his father. Rod's sister Sandra. We always spent Christmas visiting each other's homes and playing with all the toys. That's a magic set that Santa brought us that we're playing with. That's Uncle Lester speaking to Gramps, and there's Aunt Beatrice. That's Dad's father Edgar. We called him Skipper. These are the only pictures we have of him. He was a master carpenter and died in 1963. This is the sleet storm of 1958. This is Count Avenue heading north. I remember we lost the power for a long time. For me, it was a great adventure. Dad wanted to get some movies, so he and Gramps went out for a drive. I also tagged along. We went into the Kilbride area where these were taken, and then headed back home. This is Bay Bulls Road heading east. This is Waterford Bridge Road. The next day the sun was out, so Jeff wanted to do some shoveling. I remember a few years later he split his head open when he fell against that small concrete wall. The treacherous road to Buren. Even at the best of times this road was horrendous. Dad managed the warehouse with Jack and often spent a lot of time away from home. He must have hated to travel that road. Just look at the snow. Today, this drive would take 3 hours, but back then, it often took 14 to 16 hours, with only a single lane of traffic. In 1958, the Buren area didn't have any power, but the warehouse did. We had a large diesel generator that I called the Delco. For some reason, I was scared of it, and when I was there with Dad, he was always trying to get me to go into the shed to see it, but it wasn't for me. I was just too scared. That's Jerry and some of the trucks we had. This is my 6th birthday party with friends from the neighborhood and school. I can't even remember who they are. Wrestling was a big part of the activities. We sure had fun. There was always a cake and Dixie Cup ice cream. I wish I could remember who these guys are. This is Jeff's 3rd birthday. Jack, Gladys, and Jerry were there, so I guess Dad was in Buren. Mom and Mother must have taken the movies. I was hyper, as I usually was. Gramps always sat at the head of the table. It was his favorite spot in the house. Christmas, 1958. We always had a real tree that somehow managed to get decorated. This is my first guitar. I played lefty. Jeff got one too. I remember that old garage. It had a built-in car wash that squirted water. There were always lots of toys to keep us occupied. After breakfast, we managed to put off a performance for the camera. Neither of us could play, but that didn't matter. I guess this is later that day. Still playing with our toys, we always had to be dressed for company. That included wearing a shirt and tie. After supper, a family photo op. The Viewmaster was a popular item at the time. I remember we always had lots of old slides that we watched for hours. We always had to be dressed. Mom did our hair with greasy product called Brill Cream. Yuck. 1959. I guess this is early 1959, shortly after Christmas. I think this was my first time on skates. These pictures were taken in Boring Park at the tennis court near the old freshwater pool. The tennis court was turned into a natural skating area. Mom had to hold Jeff, but I managed to skate by myself. My 7th birthday, with the same old friends. I looked like my son Adam. The visit of Queen Elizabeth II. These were taken on Lamarchant Road near our house. Dad stood on a concrete wall by Brookfield Ice Cream to get these shots. We went to the bottom of Leslie Street to get these. This is the wedding of Mom's friend Hildred. She married a guy by the name of Garfield Perfect. They later lived on Carpathian Road. Mom was the maid of honor. The reception was held at what was then known as the Park Lee, out by the Octagon in Paradise. Today, the Park Lee is called Pinewood Place and still quite popular for catering weddings. That's Mom's friend Emmy Snow with the glasses. I don't know who the others are. That's Jim Snow behind Mom. There's Pete Clouston and his wife Pearl. Later we moved next to them on Fitzgibbon Street. I have no idea who this is. Christmas 1959. I remember that old hockey game and I loved to play it. Once again, the tree was a sight to behold with coloured lights, tinsel, and brittle ornaments. The Christmas turkey, there was always plenty of great food. Later for supper, we had a generous cold plate. I'll always remember the hours Mom and Mother spent cleaning the house for Christmas and then preparing the meal and making the salads. There was always enough toys to keep Jeff and me busy for hours. I kept that hat for years and later used it in New York. As usual, Annie and Bill dropped by. Bill died in 1987 and Annie in 2007. I remember visiting Bill in a Toronto hospital shortly before he died. I think this is a party that was held at the Clousons when they lived near Bonaventure Avenue. I think this is a group of members of a card club that Mom attended. This parade took place in the spring of 1960. We were at the bottom of Church Hill. I think this parade was to commemorate the Battle of the Atlantic, but I'm not sure. I know it was the last parade that the Americans that were stationed at Fort Pepperell were in. Today, Fort Pepperell is known as Pleasantville, but at that time it was a secure American base. I always wanted to drive around the area, but there were armed guards at each entrance and the area was off limits. The Santa Claus Parade of 1960. These were taken in front of Harrington School. Another tree, lots of toys, and newer guitars. I remember we had that Globe for years. My 7-transistor Sony radio. I loved it and used to go to sleep with it playing under my pillow. I remember I didn't like that game because I couldn't understand it. I have no idea what it was. That looks like a game of Scrabble. There's a fish pond. Christmas morning, Steve was sure to drop by. Dad managed to get himself in the picture of this traditional Christmas handshake. Showing off our toys. I remember I built that car from a Meccano set. One of several snowforts that we made. This looks like Signal Hill in the spring of '61. Walking home from school, I guess I was in Holloway and Jeff was in Harrington. Sunday afternoon at Boring Park, just tossing the ball around. Trees aren't fully out, so I guess this still looks like the spring. Oh, here we are down in New York. This is Ed Edmonds' place, our 61 Polara wagon, Jones Beach. I've been back to Jones Beach several times trying to relive these scenes. That's Mom, Jeff, me, Mother, and Ed Edna there on the left. Dad was taking the pictures. The beach was pretty crowded that day. This is in August of '61. That pool's not in use anymore, but it still looks much the same as it did. I was down there in 2009 and brought back a lot of old memories, that's for sure. But this pool is all dried up. The boardwalk is still the same. I guess Mom got the camera. Pony rides on the way out to Shelter Island. We left Greensport. Folk music was pretty popular at that time, and Mom always remembers a bunch of teenagers singing Michael Row the Boat Ashore. This Aunt May's, I don't know what she had there, bread and breakfast, I guess. And this is first time playing badminton and in a summer home on Shelter Island. That day was the first day we ever had a barbecue that I can remember. They had a barbecue for us that night. Croquet, that was a new game for us too, as the barbecue. Next morning went out and splashed in the water. That was sure a great trip. That boat was called the Nanjan. We had a beautiful Sunday afternoon in that boat. I got to drive for a little bit, and Janet, of course, she loves the water, so she took over as the pilot for that day. But I had a good time in driving. We did a lot of fishing. Uncle Ches caught a little shark. I remember that. There's a shark that he caught. He cut the head off it. That's Janet and Jeff. Yeah, that was a real nice day. We went out, left wherever they live, and went out to Greensport and back again. Probably we might even went right around Shelter Island, but I know I thoroughly enjoyed the trip. Here we are coming back. That boat is long gone. Okay, we went then to New York City. One of the things we did was the Circle Line cruise, but it was pretty foggy that day. Hard to see anything. I did it in 2009, and it was a beautiful day. That's Staten Island Ferry, Brooklyn Bridge, the United Nations. We went then to see Aunt Etta in Scarborough. That's Aunt Etta on the left and Uncle Ernest on the right. She's mother's sister. We're on our way out to Niagara Falls here now. There we go. There's the first time I ever saw Niagara Falls. A beautiful day. And we were out there for a little while. Wave to the camera. Falls don't look much different today than they did back then. Just some more camera shots, I guess. This is the CN exhibition in downtown Toronto. First time Dad tried to use some slow motion, I think, right here. On the merry-go-round. A little later on, we went up into a helicopter and I spied a celebrity in the audience. I guess he was watching his children. Fred Davis, he used to be on a television show called Front Page Challenge. That's a little later when we were in the little helicopter rides. There we go. Oh, it's not a helicopter, it's a spaceship. Anyway, during that ride, that's where I spotted Fred Davis from Front Page Challenge. Just little rides and attractions. Christmas of '61. More goodies under the tree. We're each getting a little older. A lot of times we had these erector sets. This case was a log cabin. We had Meccano, another erector set there. I don't know what that one was called. We were lucky enough to have pretty well two of each. Learn to Draw with John Nagy. Gee whiz, you don't see that now. Just a camera opportunity here, just to get a few pictures of Mother and Gramps heading out, I guess, somewhere. Now, some shots with the family. Good to see that Dad was able to get into some of these pictures. Because when you're behind the camera, it's pretty hard, isn't it? Good thing there's no audio to this, because neither one of us could play. I was in '62. This is Christmas of '62, so he mustn't have shot much footage throughout the year. I love that drum set. That's what ended up down at McPherson Junior High. And I don't know how it got there. I wish I could have found one of those prop planes today. I really liked it. A lot of fun to play with. This is the Christmas of '62, and this is the year that Mother dropped a turkey on her toe. I don't know if she broke it or not, but you won't see her foot there because there's a great big bandage on it. It was out in the kitchen sink, and something happened working around the kitchen, and the turkey fell and broke her toe, or squashed it anyway. This is 1963. I guess I'm in grade 4 maybe, And that's me in the back there on the far right. Is a play that we had down to Holloway School. This is the spring of 1963. Wow. And also in the summer of 63, we went to Prince Edward Island. That's the ferry. It's the first time he had his own car. This was the third one back there. It's a white Valiant, 63 Valiant, first new car he ever had. He spent most of the time taking footage of this parade. I think it's for the Lobster Festival they had over there. One thing about film, once you shoot it, the footage is used. You can't retake it like on videotape. Yeah, this is the Lobster Festival. I guess they hold it every year. There's the old Canadian flag, the Red Ensign. There's the Lobster King. Here we are back home, and this is just a photo op on a Sunday afternoon out to Fort Amherst. Beautiful Sunday day. Beautiful Sunday afternoon. Just out with the family for a drive. Our last Christmas on Hamilton Avenue. This is Christmas of 63. Steve, there's Bill there next to Mother. Steve, Pierce, Mom, Steve's wife Gertie, and Gramps. That's the old Christmas tree. Just a photo session around with the family. We'll skip 64 and go right to 1965. We've moved up to Fitzgibbon Street now, and Dad didn't shoot very much footage in 64, but this is a trip that Mother and Gramps and the Bogdans took to Portugal. The Bogdans were a family that lived across the street. There they are, on Fitzgibbon Street, and they were good friends with my grandparents. He was a butcher. Had a store on Cashin Avenue. Just scenes around Portugal. After Portugal, they went to London. Now, where are they now? Gramps taking the camera. That's not bad. It's not bad footage. Not knowing how to use the camera. Must be some gardens or something. Well, that's it for Portugal. The White Houses. Ah, here we are in London. Parade in front of Buckingham Palace. Still going on today. I guess that'll go on forever. And the band played on. Just more of the same, typical tourist movies. Okay, what do we got coming up here now? Christmas of 1965 is our first Christmas in the new house up on Fitzgibbon Street. Boy, I always like getting those hockey games. They were a great bit of fun. This footage was gone a bit green because it was in, this is 66 now. This is Christmas of 66. Then in the spring of 67, or the summer of 67, Dad had an opportunity to perform with a singing group that he was with. I don't even remember the name, and they went to Expo 67. I didn't want to go, I stayed home. I was too big to go down in with the family, you know. So they had a lovely trip. Jeff went with them. Just scenes of Expo 67. Most of that is still there, believe it or not. I was up there in 2007 and 2008, and that area is like a little, all the rides are still there, so you can go there, but a lot of the pavilions are gone, but the rides are still there. I guess that's the water show they have. That dome is still there. I got real good pictures of that. And the one, that pavilion, I don't know where that was, the Czechoslovakia pavilion. I don't know. It was one of the pavilions is no longer there. That ride is gone. They haven't had many World's Fairs since, I don't believe. After they left Montreal, they went to Ottawa. Hope Jeff's a better swimmer today. Christmas of '69. Oh boy. Now we're into '69. I guess Dad didn't shoot much film in '68. I guess he shot none. Because this is 1969. I'd met Jean and we were together. How young were we? 1969. This is up on Fitzgibbon Street now. This must be New Year's or something with that stupid hats on. And the Snows came over, friends of Mom and Dad's. That's Stephen Snow in the middle, Emmy and Jim. Stephen got his own family now, of course. And this is some party that they went to. I have no idea where this was or what it was for. Well, we're into the 1970s. This is 1970 downtown St. John's. I decided I'm going to try the camera finally after having it all this time. I said I'll take the camera and see what I can do. That's down across from City Hall. All those buildings are gone now. That's a club now. That's the new City Hall. In the harbor. Must be in the spring because there's snow on the hills. The old Cabot colonial building. Everybody knows the Confederation building. I was just trying to get some scenes, is all I was trying to do. Gower Street Church, family church. And the Anglican Cathedral right across from it. in the Kirk, 1973. That's the year Jean and I got married. This is the wedding rehearsal party. And the wedding reception was held down to where? The old Newfoundland Hotel. That's Jean's mom and dad. Right there. Look at Jeff and Mom, my jumpers. That's Valerie, that little girl. That's Sandra's daughter, Valerie. And then we're leaving to go off for a trip to Bishop Falls. We bought a brand spanking new 1973 Mustang. Boy, I wish I had that car today. And there's just some shots of around Bishop Falls. Jean had family out there, and we used to go out there several times visiting. It's a nice getaway. Christmas of '73. Too bad the lighting is so poor here. (1977). From 73 till 77, the camera wasn't used very much. This is when I went over to Belle Island with a bunch of the boys. First time I was ever over there. Ah, look what we have here. Andrew. Andrew as a baby. Up on Neil's Line area, up with Manuel's. Only video we got of Andrew as a baby. Look on, look. Old Dodge Power Wagon I had, 1976 Power Wagon. Nice truck at the time. And that's the house we had up in Manuel's. Built a lot of it ourselves. Going for a visit now up to Fitzgibbon Street. Well, that's it. That comes to the end of these videos. I sure hope you enjoyed it. Some family memories.